a question here. Since we're talking about education of entrepreneurs, currently if you're a student, you have access to student loans, so you're training people to get a job and you give them access to a loan so that they will be able to reimburse when they get a job. How realistic or how much of a hope there will be for an entrepreneur loan so that anybody who wants to get into starting a business get access to some funding, knowing that if you look at the top 5,000 fastest growing companies in the US from Inc. magazine, the average capital to get there is $25,000, so it wouldn't have to be a lot of money. And then related to that, or as to where potentially the money would come from, to touch on the incentive for taxes and stuff, the SEC currently you cannot invest in a business unless you're an accredited investors, which means you have to have $1 million assets or $400,000 revenue per year, which is maybe 3 or 5% of the population. How realistic it would be to open up that sources of funding by lowering that limit. I know there's a petition that has been filed to allow up to, I believe it's $1,000 of investment by anybody who is interested in investing in a business. So.
All right. So the question about entrepreneurship education, getting a loan for taking curriculum, you're talking about courses in entrepreneurship. I would imagine that, who wants to handle that? You're talking about while in college, or as you start a business, getting a loan to go to school, like a formal education?
Getting a loan to help you start the business. So that, currently either you have your own money or you have friends, or you're going to use your credit cards, because in 90% of the cases, the angels and VCs are their revenue when you are a startup. So this 80% of the population that's not being helped today will benefit greatly from a program like this. And it could come with the requirement to go through a program that is formal education for entrepreneurship, but it would allow you to get started with $25,000, which is enough to get you in the top 5,000 fastest growing companies in the US.
Real quick, just to address that in the context of Start America, there's a lot of great models outside government that are already doing, I think, a lot of what you're saying. So we all heard from David Cohen talking about Techstars. Techstars answered the president's call to action and is expanding that model to 15 or more cities and many more to come. There's a lot of models like that. But I also want to talk about basically the crowdfunding example, so the SEC petition. In March, Secretary Geithner, Secretary of Treasury, is going to be convening an Access to Capital Summit to address both of the questions you talked about, getting lots of people from everything from private equity to angel investors to crowdfunding experts in a room together with avenues for public participation to address a lot of the questions you're talking about. Now, the SEC, which controls the rules around accredited investors, is totally independent, so we can't exactly tell them what to do. But I think what you can do is help raise the profile of this issue. It really does make a difference. They do have to listen to and honor all public comments, and perhaps working together we can get some change there.
I would offer, for those of you who are involved in energy, we have a program called the Rural Energy for America program, and that finances feasibility studies. That, as you all can well imagine, is critical to determining to be able to determine the next step, but certainly is this a viable project? And so that therefore that is very important initial funds that can help that entrepreneur.
Okay, you know what? Believe it or not, that's all the time we have for questions and for this panel. I think if you learned one thing about the government's role and focus on innovation and entrepreneurship to help business owners create jobs, is that the resources are there. That the resources are there at the federal government to help you, your members, your students, start, manage, grow their business, sometimes even save their businesses. So when you have that question gets posed to you, or you ask that question of yourself, what am I going to do to grow my business? You need to understand that the government is a resource, and they are partners at a very local level, grassroots level, and so it behooves you to understand where your resources are at the local level. I thank my panelists for coming in today and sharing their insights. They are available, and I'm sure they'll provide you with their contact information or the people that you can contact at their respective agencies to help you or the people that you work with in fostering and entrepreneurship in America.
Real quick, just to follow up on that, it's whitehouse.gov/startupamerica to learn more about all the initiatives we were talking about today. My email address is drand@ostp.eop.gov. Happy to serve as a resource for anyone who has policy recommendations, questions, great models like Project Lead the Way that want to get involved in the private sector side. Again, it's drand@ostp.eop.gov.
There you go. On that note, thank you very much.